Hello, 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 hello. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are on our planet Earth. Wow, we've been having quite a heat wave here in the United States, and it's been scorching. Every time I go for my morning walk, it's a mess. When I come back, I am drenched. Usually I take two thick paper towel with me to soak up the sweat after I've put on my sunscreen and walk out there. I gotta protect the skin now. It's hot. It is hot. We are trying to stay cool and protect ourselves from any heat issues. Those of you who are having a hard time, I'm sorry. I don't know what to say but that. And hopefully your community has something to help you out with. Cooling, so you can feel a little comfortable when you sleep at night. Those of you who are experiencing snow like South Africa, I talked to one of my uncles who's there. Uncle Jacob, hello. He told me how cold it is there now, and their winters can get very cold. And I'm like, we could use that cold right now. And he's like, yeah, you don't want that. So we just have to deal with our summer and the heat and make the best we can out of the situation we're in. Today's topic is very interesting. First, before I go on that, my name is Rhoda Aglago. Thank you for joining me on Love, Forgive, Live podcast. I do get very excited sometimes about topics or what I want to talk about or what's on my mind, and I jump to it and start going. Forgive me, it's just me. I get excited about everything. Correction, I get excited about life. Excuse me, life, it's it. Those of you who have the ability to pay attention to what happens in your life and the struggles that you've gone through and have overcome them. Once you overcome a struggle, there's something powerful that happens to you. You become very passionate about life. So without further ado, let me explain this topic today. Today's topic is this. What does justice mean in the divine laws of the universe? What does justice mean in the divine laws of the universe? Trust me, it is different from what we speak of here on planet Earth. I recognize that planet Earth has a way of coming up with our own perception and understanding and interpretation, and sometimes that's so far removed from what divine laws are or what the universal laws are, because they exist. These laws exist. Every culture knows it. Mind you, it's written in the Bible, but when you go to other cultures that communicate history and family dynamics or family history, it's all being done orally. And because it's done orally, when you listen carefully and pay attention, you become fully aware that, wait, this is actually biblical principles. And there's something sacred about that. From every culture you can think of, aside from the European culture, I have come to learn that there's a lot of oral history being passed around. And when you take the time to really listen and pay attention, you begin to see a correlation between these universal laws of each culture and how it intertwines with biblical principles. I find that very interesting, and sometimes I get very excited, and it makes me wonder what else is out there that we are not paying attention to. Before I tackle this question, I first need to dive into one thing here. Okay? Meaning the world's form of justice, what the world perceives as justice in the world's perception, world's interpretation or ideals of justice. And I came across, no, I didn't come up with it, but I came across the Webster's Dictionary definition of justice. And it goes like this. And I'm quoting this: the virtue which consists in giving to everyone what is his due, practical, conforming to the laws and principles of rectitude in the dealing of humanity with each other, honesty, integrity, and in commerce or mutual association. Justice is distributive or communicative. Distributive justice belongs to the magistrate or rulers, and the principles of equity require, of equity that require, or in deciding controversies, according to the laws and principles of equity. Commutative, this word is a little hard for me. Commutative justice consists in fair dealing in trade and mutual association between one another. So that's one aspect of the definition. And then it continued to go. There's like 5 or 6 points. I just took the first 2 because we don't have all day to go through this. I'm not a legalist or an attorney. I'm just talking from a layman's term point of view versus divine laws of justice, or what it means in divine laws, okay? So one aspect of justice being defined by Webster Dictionary is the impartiality. That is impartiality. Impartiality. Meaning equal distribution of right in expressing opinions, fair representation of facts, respecting merit or demerit. In criticism, narrations, history, or discourse, it is a duty to do justice to everyone. That's number 1. Then number 2, actually no, so this is number 2. Number 3 is equity. Now we're defining the equity part. Equity means agreeableness to right as his or her proved the justice of his claim. This should, in strictness, be justness. So, when I embarked on justice and trying to dig into it, I had no idea to get this complicated. I kid you not. My perception, from a layman's point of view, from a world definition that we were given, I thought justice means things being, someone feeling that they're vindicated or they're being validated. That's what I thought that justice meant. Meaning, if something is going on with you and you had a dispute with someone will adjudicate that, or magistrate would decide that the wrong party will be validated on feeling that they would get some vindication from what was done to them. And so it's almost like a victim requiring someone to make them feel better by appeasing them with something in return. That's what I thought until I embarked on this, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is more complicated than I thought. So this is why we are going to dive into this and create an understanding what divine universal laws of justice means, and we can decide. I'll give some examples of situations, and I'll give a quotation so you can actually go and do your own research and read more on it and understand. And hey, we are learning here. Now, the divine law of justice is actually that justice is the undoing of the wrong you believe was done to you by others in this world. When something bad happens to us or to you, you automatically believe it is an attack against you. You then begin to believe that the world or the universe is working against you and wants you to fail and to feel bad. When you begin to believe this, here's what that creates: pain, doubt, hurt, and separation. And you begin to feel justified by this perception that you've created and believe so and hold on to, and then begin to create this idea that you are separate. You are separate from everyone. You are separate from the divine laws. You are separate from the universe. You are separated from the Creator, and you are not a part of that. And this level of separation creates a fragment of ideas that you put judgment to and create this distorted belief system. And when this happens, it is very important to recognize that it creates nothing but pain, despair, condemnation, anger, rage, hurt, and further pull you down into the despair of complete separation and being cut off. The strangest thing about this thought process is that it is not unusual, because we've all been there. We've all been there and experienced something like this, because when I experienced it as a child, I used to really beat myself and ask, why is this happening to me? What is this going to do for me? Why? And I need to feel good. I need somebody to hear me and put things right. And it's not unusual, because we've all been there. And of course, it's a perception we create from the pain that we've just experienced or are experiencing, or we're perceiving ourselves to be going to, and then perceiving. This is so prevalent in every young one. When we are growing, we go through this. Now, I don't know if there's anyone out there who has never felt they needed justice for anything. If there is somebody like that, I would love to talk to them and meet them, because I'll be surprised. Because every single human being on this planet have had a moment in their life where they felt that they were not receiving what they needed. And that is very important, because we as human beings, we are notorious. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. We are notorious for putting our perception, our hang-ups, our ideals, or our thought process towards, wait, I just got wronged. You need to put me straight. You need to do this to me. You owe me. That's the strange thing, but we do this a lot. When something goes wrong, we go, no, you owe me. I am putting you in position for you to owe me because you did this to me, or somebody hurt me, and so for that, everybody owes me. We create this perception because of the hurt, the intensity of the hurt. That's the other thing. The intensity of the pain will propel you to become judge, jury, and a punisher. Yes, we tend to do this. We begin to put ourselves in that situation and start wanting that blood. The moment we do that, we've lost, excuse me, we've lost our way. We've lost our, it is kind of dry in here, sorry. We've lost our way, and we are needing to find our way back. But there's always hope. There's always hope to bring us back into this distorted fragment of our wholeness, where we believe that we are not whole anymore. And in doing so, we have to understand one thing. Forgiveness is powerful. Forgiveness gives us access into returning our minds to the wholeness. So the justice in the divine laws is this. And now let me read this quote to you. Salvation is God's justice, or salvation is creation's justice, or the Creator's justice. It restores to you, or to your awareness, the wholeness of the fragments you perceive as broken off and separate. Let me repeat that again. Salvation is the Creator's justice. It restores to your awareness the wholeness of the fragments you perceive as broken off and separate. And it is this that overcomes the fear of death. For separate fragments must decay and die, but wholeness is immortal. It remains forever and forever, like its creator, being one with him. How's that? That's what the divine justice is. It will undo the pain. It will undo the perception of the pain. It will undo the perception of the separation, the anger, the fear, the doubt, the constant need, but I need someone to pay for this. Because when you truly understand what, how, and when things happen, something powerful happens on the inside. You begin to see that you were whole all along. And the pain was just a temporary fix. That's why I always say that do not allow a temporary setback of emotions, of hurt, let you make a permanent decision that would stay with you for life. When that pain would go away, it would not last forever. That justice you seek in the divine laws of justice eradicates that and replaces the hurt with an understanding and knowing that you were never separated in the first place. And God's judgment is his justice. Isn't that strange? Listen to this. The Creator's salvation is justice. And the Creator's judgment is his justice. Woo! Did anyone get that? Let me repeat this again. You may call it God. You may call him God, the universe, the Creator, source. Salvation is source justice. And God's judgment is his justice. It's something, isn't it? Now, I'm explaining justice, but justice is not mercy. Justice and mercy are completely different. Let's get that straight. Justice is salvation. Mercy is different. So next time you're looking for justice and you're feeling like there's an injustice to you, let me explain this. Injustice. When you feel unjust, that means you are seeing your past, your experiences, your hurt, as a wrong was done to you. Here's the thing. We take things personal. It's a normal thing with us humans. Humanity would take things personal and create a belief system, an ideal, because we attach with the emotion a perception to it. And when this happens, we become removed. And this is how we create our discomfort. If you want to experience the heaven on earth here inside of you, then it's up to you. Make a choice. Do you want to create the chaos, the worst thing you could create for yourself, and not have the peace or the joy? By constantly reliving the hurt of the past and feeling it was unjustly done to you and it was unjustly directed at you. And I hear this, oh, it wasn't fair how people treated me. It wasn't fair how my parents treated me. It wasn't fair how this person treated me. It wasn't fair. It wasn't fair. It wasn't fair. Let me ask you one question here. When you proclaim it wasn't fair, what do you get out of that? What do you get out of that? Or are you feeling somebody should hear that? Okay. So when they hear that, what do you want from there? What is the next step? Here's the thing. It could never be satisfied. That's the truth. You hold on to that. Ooh. It's not fair. It's not fair. It's not fair. I'll give you an example. Someone had something wrong done to them. So now they're feeling that because they had experienced this wrong thing, it's only fair that everything that happens to them from that point on should be roses, a bed of roses. But then it doesn't happen. And then they start saying, it isn't fair because I have suffered so. That means my next move should be victory, should be feeling good. But here's the thing. The mere fact that you're feeling that because what was done was not fair, you are going to attract more experiences of unfairness to substantiate what you believe. Because you believe that and you trust that and you see it, this is what you're going to be doing. You are going to be creating the moments for you to collect proof that the unfairness exists in your life, which is the separation and the anger and the death and the fear. When you do this, it's almost like you're using your words to say one thing and expecting a different thing coming back to you. It doesn't work that way. You either drop it and stop the condemnation and recognize that what the divine justice explains is undoing it, what you're believing, by creating truth. Because truth already exists. By allowing you to see the truth. Hereby allowing you to recreate that in you, because truth never left. Truth was always there. But because you experienced some hurt, you turned away and said, I'm not together with truth. So you creating it is allowing yourself to begin to understand that maybe your perception might be a little off. Could there be another way? Could there be another reason? Could there be another way to allow peace to reign? One example comes in mind. Imagine someone who has been through a world of hurt. And they will come. Actually, no, I have a better example. I remember my child was about 7 or 8 years old and had a really good friend. And then this friend came for them to play. And at the time, my child had a laptop to play with. And the friend came, and then this friend decided the game on the computer needed to be played, and the friend wanted to play this game. When she started playing the game, I came and I said, hey, listen, there's only one laptop here, so why don't you guys take a turn? I set up I said, okay, so right now it's 4 o'clock. When you finish at 4:30, let my child play too. So then, and I said, and when my child finish playing, then after the 30 minutes, then the friend will come back on and then play. So they can take turns. They were playing, and all of a sudden, I heard a commotion. They were fighting. So I went there and I was like, why are you guys fighting? And the young girl says, well, it's not fair. And I was like, what is not fair? She said, it's not fair that your child has the computer and laptop designated just to your child, but I don't have that. Even at home, I'm not allowed to even use the computer because my brother just hoards it all the time and never lets me do anything. And I said, oh, I'm sorry. And then she said, no, so for that reason, I should get to play the game as long as I want. I'm like, wait, I thought you came to see your friends so you guys can play together. When did it turn around to be that you should take over the whole computer for the time that you're there? Then what is the point? And then she said, well, she lives here and it's her computer, so she can get it anytime. So she should allow me to just use it as long as I want and without giving her a turn. And I was like, I don't think that works out very well. Allow her to play half and then you do too. And this little girl was so upset and she started crying and she said, that's not fair, my life is not nice. My life is not great. And then you have your computer and I don't have anything. You even have this, you have that, and I don't have it. That's not fair. At this point, I was confused because the child was very upset and feeling that her pain needed to be appeased by my child and by us when we had nothing to do with this pain. But she had this perception that everybody is responsible for making her pain less, for making her feel good. And here I thought, well, I was allowing. I thought that's what we were doing, just so you play with my child, so you guys can be cool. You can have some fun together. And she's like, no, you don't understand. It's not fair. It's not fair. My life is hard enough and tough enough. I should get anything I want when I come here. And I was like, whoa, I'm confused. Looking back now, I recognize something. This child is not behaving in an unusual way. She's behaving exactly as the pain that she's going through. Because guess what? We adults, we do it too. Because she felt the pain she was having at home, it was okay for her to dump on someone. And we do that. You could be driving somewhere on the street, and I get this all the time. Sometimes I'm driving, and I'm just bopping my head to music, and somebody would just all of a sudden just cut me off on the road. And instead of me, getting upset and then raising my hands into profanity or saying something bad, that road rage might step in. But I am fully aware that I had nothing to do with that person's aggressive behavior to cut me off. So I usually smile and I keep bopping my head to my music and I don't care. But then I'll be watching another lane, somebody cut off someone and the person is pressing on the horn. Beep! That person is mad at the person for crossing them. And then that person in the front that crossed them or cut them off raised the hands in the profanity. And I'm watching this while I'm driving. I'm like, oh, this is funny. And I see that and I'm like, oh gosh. Yeah. And I laugh. But then I recognize that person in the front, they're probably dealing with some stuff in their head. And they just happen to cut that person off because when they're doing that stuff, sometimes ego tells them, you're the only one that matters here on the road. Everybody's just a waste of time. You see how mixed up that thought process is? Well, this child brought it to my home. And it's not unusual because adults do the same thing. Needless to say, after playing for a while and then realized she's not going to budge, then I said, okay, I think they need to read a book or something. So my child was very upset and said, well, I don't want to play any game. I just want to sit down and read. And I was like, oh, you should spend some time with me. She said, we're not spending time together. My friend came here to play a game and just used me to play a game. And I recognize something like that because adults do it too. And when adults do it, sometimes we berate them and get angry at them. But how about we start thinking about the fact that they're hurting? They're hurting and they need a safe place to communicate that hurt. And you reassuring them and make them realize that. And then they realize that their perception about what was hurting them was wrong all along. It wasn't what they thought. That's the beauty. It wasn't what they thought. It's incredible, isn't it? Once we start unraveling that, that's the justice. Yes, that is the justice. When it starts unraveling that, and then recognizing that, oh my goodness, I am so sorry. You didn't have anything to do with it. I just had something that I was dealing with. I was angry and I felt unfair. I felt it was unfair because you were happy and I wasn't. But the truth of the matter is, nobody can give you that. You have to give it to yourself. In spite of the circumstances, you have to cultivate that and give it to yourself. Otherwise, you will be walking around with lenses of unfair, 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 unfair. And so for that, I'm going to cut everybody down. I'm going to push everybody down, step on everybody, and just make them miserable so everybody can feel as miserable as I am. Divine justice is undoing of that and saying, let it go. Forgive that. Forgive the past. Forgive the hurt. Forgive the stuff that you believe that's created this anger within you. Because the perception rests in the mind to stay still. Perception rests in the mind to stay still. To allow you to breathe so you can let go. And recognize that, wow, what I thought was going to be my downfall actually wasn't at all. Once we recognize this, we give forgiveness a chance. Forgiveness comes in and release the stress of the unfairness, the stress of the fear, the stress of the anger, the rage, and death. Release that so you can be free and recognize the beauty of your own undoing to realize you're one with Source and you never left in the first place. And let go of what illusion tells you. This is how you gain your ability to create that peace you so need. Just in case you're feeling separate, begin to understand that is not my original state at all. I'm good. I can bounce back. It's okay. It's beautiful. Once you do this, something wonderful happens to you on the inside. You begin to understand the peace of the Creator in you. And it's around you in the whole world. You don't have to go around needing to be validated, vindicated by anyone. It's already there. And it's a part of you, and you are part of it. That is divine law of justice. When you become aware of this, that peace, the divine peace, descends in the whole world. And it's not only you experiencing it, but everybody around you. Give that a try. Recognize this. Put yourself through this and see that what you are seeking is actually the undoing of the perception associated with hurt. So you can be free. That is true justice, actually. The other was not justice at all. It's you choosing death over that. Who would want that? Choose what fuels you up so that you can have the joy and the peace. That is worth working towards. That is worth understanding, and that is worth growing into the person that you're supposed to be so you can free yourself and know that divine's law of justice is the undoing of the hurt or the perception related to the hurt. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope today was helpful. I hope you learned something. I'm always ever ready to impart whatever I have learned thus far in our world and empower my brothers and sisters out there, motivate, inspire, and of course, definitely share the love. My name is Rhoda Aglago. Thank you for joining me on Love, Forgive, Live podcast. My email address, those of you who want to contact me about anything, my email address is love, L-U-V, the number 4, give, G-I-V-E, live, L-I-V-E, at gmail.com. Now, tomorrow is August 3rd. I will be doing a live stream on Facebook on Love, Forgive, Live. I'm going to be talking a little bit about the peace of God. What is that? And create an understanding of how powerful that is when you experience it. This podcast is important to me because I do this to teach what I'm learning so far and empower all my brothers and sisters out there, both in the U.S. and anywhere in the world. I look forward to talking to you guys tomorrow, everyone tomorrow, every person tomorrow. It's going to be at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time on Facebook. And the topic is going to be about the peace of God. Please make notes of that. I hope to see you guys tomorrow evening at 8:15 p.m. And then we can learn a thing or two. You can actually ask questions if you need to and impart your thoughts or questions or whatever needs to be discussed, okay? And we will keep in touch about the webinar. And I'm still working on it. Like I said, the team is working on how to organize it. I have an idea how to organize it, but they want to know when to be able to put it into the schedule. So once we figure that out, I'll announce where the link will be and everybody can join us. Thank you once again. Have an awesome week. And of course, I'll make sure that we talk next week, and we will talk about anything again. And I usually decide my topic, like I said, either the day before or the day off, and make it work. Have an awesome week. Take care. Love you all. Bye.